Excellent. So we just got done watching Requiem for a Coma.
Yeah, I am not entirely certain of what that was supposed to be, but what it was fucking exhausting.
I'm actually gonna have to shoot Laura a text to tell her I'm sorry I've been gone for the last 5 years. That's how long that movie was. I'm way behind on rent.
I shaved this morning.
This morning I filmed the Snob episode on Superman, the live the musical. That's how long. That's how long we've been holding on to this Midnight Screenings episode. So this is a requested episode. So special thanks to Lance Rutt, who on Patreon, our Patreon's patreon.com/thecinemasnob, requested for me and Dave to review the Stephen Baldwin Christmas religious drama called Midnight Clear. That's right, I own this now.
Well, Lance, thank you for the money, but fuck you for the sentiment.
No, it's okay, because the back of the box says features incredible performances by such veteran actors as Stephen Baldwin and Victoria Jackson. So, no movie. You go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Oh.
This is, it's an ensemble movie. There's a bunch of different storylines going on in it. And it's all taking place on Christmas Eve, which they remind you of several times in this movie, where a character, usually the kid or usually the mom, will go, "It's Christmas Eve, but it's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve.
You know why they have to
Christmas
keep doing
Eve.
that? Because they shot this someplace where there's no snow, so it doesn't look like winter. Everyone's wearing fucking t-shirts except for Stephen Baldwin, and also no one decorated.
Except for at the very end, it looks like it was shot in a completely different town.
Yeah.
In front of Kay Callan's house. That's right, Martha Kent's in this too.
Yeah.
Who else was in this? Charlie's landlord from
the first
It's Always Sunny.
It's Always Sunny. Yeah.
He's in this, which is funny because this movie says edited by Frank Reynolds, which explains the part why Stephen Baldwin's just fucking a prostitute for 10 minutes in the middle of the movie. No, I wish that happened, but it's a bunch of different storylines. So Kay Callan plays like a woman whose family hasn't seen her in a long time, and she seems to have some problem with her pills, which is when I leaned over to Dave and went, "Are we watching a religious movie version of Requiem for a Dream?" And it feels like it's 10 years late in trying to be like a quirky indie, not quirky, but like an ensemble multi-story mid-90s movie. Like, it's 10 years too late on trying to be like a 90s indie film. It would be like if 20 years after it was made, suddenly you saw PureFlix make their own version of Gas Food Lodging.
Yeah, it was pointless. This movie was pointless. I mean,
as pointless as watching this Christmas movie in September. It's Christmas December in September.
It's just like, okay.
This was so boring.
It was just so
this was
boring.
So boring. I don't know.
There's so many subplots and none of them are resolved except for one. And it's just mind-numbingly fucking
it's so
boring.
Dry. I don't know who would own this except for my happy ass that now has a copy of it because I was paid $100 to watch it. I don't know what man, this is. I've now seen 3 Stephen Baldwin religious movies, and he gives the same boring ass, flat ass performance that, wow, someone's really trying to get a hold of somebody. Are you hearing that vibrating?
Oh, hold on. I can fix that. I apologize. That That is all my fault.
I was trying to write off for like, oh, sorry, I'm just really gassy from all the jerky that I ate during this. You'll have to excuse me. My jerky farts are so much more interesting than anything in this goddamn... Stephen Baldwin delivers the same boring, flat-ass... You know what Stephen Baldwin is? He's the... Oh, no.
Blinding myself.
Stephen Baldwin is the actor equivalent of Fun Bobby from Friends.
Yeah, he does. And the whole time I was sitting there thinking, Stephen Baldwin, come on, you're playing an alcoholic. You know what that's like.
Yeah.
Bring it, do a line or something, man. Make it interesting.
Once upon a time, Stephen Baldwin was an entertaining actor.
Yeah.
From stuff that's great, like The Usual Suspects, to stuff that's not great, like Fled, but he's still entertaining in it. Meanwhile, between this and God's Club and Faith of Our Fathers, it's like, okay, bro, I guess you're doing the kinds of movies you want to do now, but you could at least act like you are not forced to be in these at gunpoint.
Oh.
It's another one of those Stephen Baldwin performances in this film.
Yeah. And just...
This movie feels like watching an assembly cut of a movie that hasn't been properly edited together yet.
Oh, you could easily trim half this movie away.
Oh, yeah, in a movie where one cutaway shows the gas filling in the tank, and everyone speaks so dry and repeats themselves over and over again. It's not just Stephen Baldwin, it's most actors in this movie who are like, hey, well, I guess I'm having a bad day. Well, it's Christmas Eve and all. Hey, is your gas station still open? Do you mind if I buy something? Can I get some turkey? I like turkey, not when it's molded to look like bacon. It's so much of that shit. Conversations that could be just trimmed in half in this goddamn thing. There's barely a soundtrack in it. It's edited, it's shot like it's filmed, it's shot like the
cinematographer was trying, but it's dude, not for this.
I didn't pick up that anyone was trying, but at the same time it was it's not that it's shot like somebody who just recently graduated film school would probably shoot a movie, and it's from the director of what's his name, Dallas Jenkins, the same guy, or Dallas Jennings, the same guy directed Resurrection of Gavin Stone, which, not a movie that I felt like I should be seeing in a theater. It kind of felt like a TV movie, but it had more movement and vibrance to its direction than this movie did. This movie felt like the lowest of low of indie movies with multiple storylines kind of connecting together. People are just there in frame. This actor's in frame, that actor's in frame, and maybe we should do just a 2-shot for this, and it's just murky looking, and it's not pleasant to look at all. It's a movie that's shot. That's the best way to put it.
Which, if anything happened on screen, dialogue-wise or character-wise, that might have been fine. But since there was nothing happening, all we could do was go, 1 shot, 2 shot, exterior, 1 shot.
Oh, especially because one of the things that we're comparing this to is Requiem for a Dream. This movie's Requiem for a Dream if Darren Aronofsky was the vegetable husband in this film. Who's played by Kevin Downes from a lot of Pure Flix movies. Yeah, he's in this. He has no lines. It's his best performance.
There
were 2 scenes that were kind of amazing in this movie. The rest of it is just bleh.
Yeah.
The rest of it is, they all have shitty lives. By the end of it, they come together. Some of them end up in church. Some of them are just kind of helping themselves get through shit. There's nothing offensive about this movie because nothing happens in it.
No, and that's the thing. For a Christian movie, this one didn't really preach. It's just it takes place in the periphery of an oncoming church service.
Yeah, and I like that one of the plot lines was the carolers going door to door trying to beg people to come back to their church. Like they're stalking them.
Yeah.
Like they're Mr. Wendy from that old
and giving
commercial.
each of them $20 in an envelope.
Yeah. What? The old lady gets free food from Victoria Jackson, which is kind of like getting free food from a crazy cat lady who thinks Satan lives in her marshmallows. God. Somehow wearing a crazy-ass Christmas sweater made Victoria Jackson look just as crazy. She's just wearing a bright sweater is all.
Yeah.
There are two scenes that are kind of amazing in this movie. There's one part, because Stephen Baldwin plays one of the least interesting or likable leads that I think we're supposed to feel sorry for in this, but we never do.
It was like a Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler without any pathos.
Yeah, without any pathos or a performance whatsoever. It'd be like, it's like that was kind of a comeback for Mickey Rourke. Like, Stephen Baldwin, this is the opposite of that. This is like, I'm trying to destroy my career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Mickey Rourke never stopped being a good actor. He just stopped being a person anyone wanted to work with. There's a difference, you know?
Stephen Baldwin's character in this is trying to see his kids again because he's going through a divorce, yet he's a hardcore alcoholic and the most boring alcoholic I've ever seen in a movie. He gets himself fired. He lives in his car because he can't make rent. It gets to the point to where, like, he's like calling his wife to scream at her and like taking this guy's cell phone so he could scream at his wife, and then he buys a gun. And this movie has a fantasy sequence in it where Stephen Baldwin is envisioning himself committing mass murder. This, again, there are two scenes in this movie that really stand out. That's one of them, because he's having...
Not because it's mass murder, but because they didn't have any money to do it.
Oh, yeah, but it's Stephen Baldwin killing, I guess, the wife's boyfriend.
Well, he just punches him.
Oh, okay.
He just kills the boss.
He kills the boss. No, he shoots the fat guy, the fat security guard.
Oh, yeah,
guy. And he also shoots the cell phone guy and the guy running the convenience store. And it's because it's the kind of movie it is, it's absolutely bloodless. So you just have
no blood.
So, but it doesn't even cut away. It just goes like, the guy's just like, like that, wearing the brightest of fucking clothes. It's like, you could kind of maybe get away with this if he was wearing like a black shirt or something like that. But no, it's and falls over and shit. Like, that was odd. And also when Stephen Baldwin breaks into his former work to steal like extension cords and paint
and a couple tools
and a few tools, he goes, because at this point Stephen Baldwin's been fired, so he goes up and talks to the security guard, where again half of this could have been cut, because again it's about the fact that Stephen Baldwin's name is Lefty, which we have to be reminded of through this whole thing. This movie will stop dead just so Stephen Baldwin can be like, I don't get called Lefty not because I'm left-handed. I'm not left-handed. Here's a long story about how when I was a kid and they called me Lefty. And then it literally cuts to the other actress who goes, anyway. Yeah, perfect. That seemed really genuine. And so Stephen Baldwin, the fat dude sitting at the fucking security monitor won't let Stephen Baldwin in because Stephen Baldwin's fired. So Stephen Baldwin's like, guess I'll go now. Ooh. And backs up and then speeds his car through the rail.
Yeah.
And breaks that, races in there. He doesn't get caught by the security guard because the security guard is too slow because he's very obese and has to go back to his post to grab his empty cup of coffee, which he is pretending that's full.
And instead of, running 5 feet to where Stephen Baldwin was standing, he gets in a golf cart, starts it, and tries to chase down like an old Chevelle.
Yeah.
In a golf cart.
Uh-huh.
And suddenly, while this old fucking beat up car is still going quite quick out of this parking lot, the security guard stops the golf cart, puts it in park, gets out, and throws his coffee cup at this car that would have been long gone, and hits it.
Oh, not only hits it, it breaks the fuck out of not the cup, but the back of his windshield. I literally went like, what? And I was like, okay, the rest of this movie is boring as shit, but I got one what out of this movie, and that was followed up by his former boss, going up to the security guard, and the security guard going, should we call the cops? And then the boss goes, no, let's not do that. I just kind of want him out of here. After Stephen Baldwin has committed several things, breaking and entering, stealing,
destruction of
property. It's like this guy went to the same business school as the fucking boss from War Room.
He's just been walking around all night thinking about it.
Just been walking around all night thinking about the stuff you stole. And how I didn't call the cops because I'm lazy.
This fucking movie.
This was so hard to sit through, man. Like, this was the hardest one to sit through of the Stephen Baldwin ones that I've watched. Because the other ones actually weren't really that hard to sit through. God's Club is fucking offensive as shit, and that was kind of fascinating.
See, like, I'd rather watch one of the horribly offensive ones.
So would I.
Or something, a movie where something happens. Even if it's dumb or stupid or bad. But honestly, Lance, you just wasted your money to torture us.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, even the box cover makes it look like it's tricking you into renting like some indie 90s movie. It's even called Quick Stop. Like, oh man, Midnight Clear looks checked out. Guess we should rent Drugstore Cowboy. Like, yeah, and man, you can even see on the box how they kind of cover up the name of Mr. K's Quick Stop. It looked like there was originally another letter on there, and they just took white duct tape and just kind of masked over the K on Mr. K. They do that in the movie too. There's a Dr. Pepper machine in the background.
Where the P's and the R are just painted red.
Both R's and the P, so it's like in the background you could get a delicious D Epe. Ugh. I now own this. I can watch it anytime I want. Anytime I'm in the mood to age severely.
Yeah, I've never watched a movie and thought immediately afterwards, man, I haven't brushed my teeth in a while.
I haven't done so many things in a while.
Yeah.
God. But it does have the Dove Foundation seal on there, so it's Dove approved, which it's Dove approved, unlike our movie.
Don't give a shit.
It's based on a short story. Based on the story from the author of the Left Behind series. This movie needed a rapture. Maybe that's what this is. It's all the people who were left behind, not because they're sinners, but because they're boring. They didn't want to put Jesus to sleep.
God, just like, nah, man. Bum me out.
Oh man, they're just gonna bum us out up here. Just like rapturing a bunch of wet blankets. I hated sitting through this movie.
It was.
I really hated.
It was really rough. Like I like halfway through the movie, I was like, I'm gonna brush the cat.
You did. You
and
got
like
up,
sat on the floor.
You brushed the cat. Stanley the dog went in and ate a bunch of garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. I was more interested in what my pets were doing as opposed to what was happening on the TV screen.
Is there anything else to say about this fucking movie, man?
Not really. I mean,
like I'm racking my brain about anything else to say about this.
Well, it's like we could do it in like 30 seconds. Like, all the actresses blended together. Child actor was shitty. Church was surprisingly large for a small town. The end.
But much smaller than the mega church from Resurrection of Kevin Stone.
Well, this was a mega church from 10 years ago. I mean, they've gotten bigger since.
True. That's right. I forgot. It's 2007, I think. And it's a remake of a short film that also had Stephen Baldwin in it.
As Lefty?
I'm assuming so.
Maybe in that one he killed himself.
Yeah, no, this is do not ever, man. Look, if you want your Stephen Baldwin religious movie fix, God's Club is unintentionally fucking hilarious. So's Faith of Our Fathers. They're awful, but they're unintentionally funny. They won't bore you like this fucking thing did.
Just watch Usual Suspects and pretend Gabriel Byrne is Jesus.
Yeah, watch Usual Suspects. Watch Fled. Watch One Tough Cop. Watch... God, you know what? Biodome would be a better fucking option than this shit.
Or watch any movie with Alec Baldwin, and even the bad ones.
Yeah, even Heaven's Prisoners.
And somebody just said they miss Angry Dave. You know what? You guys have ruined me. I don't get angry anymore. I'm just bored and sad.
Mm-hmm. Bored and sad, which is it's sad to say about something featuring incredible performances by veteran actors Stephen Baldwin and Victoria Jackson.
If you really miss Angry Dave, Brad and I have some plans.
Oh yeah, we do.
That'll come about in a couple months.
Yeah,
we got some plans for Angry Dave.
Once my movie is done here,
we don't need to announce this yet, but we got plans.
Oh yeah, we're not making the announcement yet, but trust me, we do. We got plans. Okay, any other final thoughts about this? I got nothing.
No.
All right, well, thanks a bunch, everyone in the chat, for coming to watch us talk about this. Okay, so Midnight Clear, shitty movie to sit through. Thanks for watching, and thanks, Lance, for the contribution. So we'll see you Thursday at Kingsman.
Yeah. Movie we'll like.